Good morning friends. Welcome back to Panika Tutorials. In the last few lectures, I have discussed about Malloc function and Calloc function with C programs also. I hope you have watched those videos. If you did not watch those videos, I request you to go back and watch those videos and come back to this video. In this video, I want to discuss about Realloc function in detail, and also I will discuss one C program related to the Realloc so that you will understand the concept in a better way. So I request everyone to watch the complete video. First, let me discuss what is Realloc. You know that what is a dynamic memory allocation. The process of allocating the memory during the runtime is called dynamic memory allocation. Let's take that you have allocated dynamically the memory using either Malloc or Calloc. Later you have realized that whether the memory is more or the memory is less, you want to reallocate the memory during the runtime itself. Then you can use a function called Realloc. It will reallocate the memory. So I hope you have understood the purpose of Realloc. Let me discuss the generalized syntax of Realloc. Then I will discuss the C program related to the Realloc. So the generalized syntax is it will return a void pointer. Okay, similarly Malloc and Calloc. And the name of the function is Realloc. And then it will take two parameters. One is let's take that you have created a memory using Malloc. Okay, then you know that if the memory is successfully created, you need to store the base address of the memory into the pointer p. Am I right? Suppose let's take that the base address is 100. That base address will be stored in the pointer p. Now if the memory is not allocated, it will have the value null. Let's take that memory is created. Now you want to reallocate the memory. Then you have to use the pointer p as one of the variable, and you have to give the new size. What size you want to create, that size you need to mention here. So this p is a one variable or one parameter which is a pointer which is pointing to the already created memory. Okay, it can be either created using Malloc or Calloc. That memory you want to realloc. Let's take that you have created 20 bytes of memory using Malloc function. That base address is there in the pointer p. Now here you have mentioned p comma 40. Then lot of students will assume that sir already 20 bytes are there. You have created another 40 bytes, so it will be 60 bytes. That is wrong. Already 20 bytes are there, but now you are asking the user to create, not the user, compiler, at the runtime 40 bytes. So now the total memory will be 40 bytes, not 60 bytes. Okay. Now let me discuss the syntax of Realloc. This is the generalized syntax. Now I want to store some integers. Okay. Then return type I need to specify it as int because it will return the void pointer. Now I want to typecast it to integer pointer, and I am writing the Realloc and the pointer which is p. I want to store, or I want to allocate the memory to store m number of integer constants. So I will write m into size of int. So look at here. Let's assume that the user has entered the m value as 10. Then 10 into, let's take that you are running this program on a 32-bit compiler. You know that size of one integer variable will be 4 bytes. So 10 into 4, 40 bytes of memory will be allocated, and the base address of that one will be stored in a pointer p. And you have to write it. So you have to allocate the base address. So int star p is equal to. This is what the way, or not, you should already you have declared. So simply you need to write p. Why I am telling you already declared? You have already created some memory using either Malloc or Calloc. During that time you have declared the pointer p and assigned the base address. So that's why you are using the p here as one of the parameter, and you are giving the new size here. I hope you have understood the generalized syntax and what is the purpose of Realloc. It is simply useful for you to reallocate the memory dynamically. Okay. Now let me discuss a C program. You know that if you want to use these dynamic memory allocation functions such as Malloc, Calloc, Realloc or free, you have to include a header file called stdlib.h. So let me include that header file. Okay, and then if I want to use the functions such as printf and scanf, I have to include the stdio.h. Okay, then I will write void main and I will write the definition here what I want to do. Let's take that I'm declaring integer variables such as inm. Okay, then I am asking the user to enter the n value. Printf enter the n value. Once the user has entered the n value, okay, I need to read it and store it in the address location of variable n. So I'm writing percentage %d as a format specifier and ampersand n I'm writing. Now I want to create the memory using Realloc dynamically to store some integer constant. So that you have to do the typecasting to return the integer pointer, and you have to write the Realloc function and with one parameter as n into size of int, because you want to store integers. Then you have to declare an integer pointer and assign this one. So if the memory is successfully created, the base address or the starting address of that block will be assigned to the p. If the memory is not allocated, then it will return the value null. So you need to check if p is equal to null, then you are writing, okay, you are writing printf, you are writing memory is not allocated, because if memory is not allocated, then only this function will return a null value. Memory is not allocated, okay, \n. Then you are writing exit 1. If the memory is not allocated, how can you store the values? That's why you should exit from the program. If the memory is allocated, you want to store some values in it. So you are writing for I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. You are asking the user to enter a element. And you are writing a \n. After printing the statement, it will go to the new line, and you are writing scanf %d p plus I. All these values you have entered. Otherwise, default value of a Realloc function is garbage value. Now you have understood that whatever the memory you have created is less for you. You want to increase the memory. Then you will use the Realloc function. So to do that one, I will ask the user to enter the m value. So enter the m value, \n, scanf %d ampersand m I will give. Now I need to use the Realloc function. So I will write p is equal to int star. I need to do the typecasting Realloc. I need to pass two parameters. One is the pointer which is holding the base address of whatever the memory you have created using Realloc, which is p, comma, how much memory you need to create, m into size of int. Okay, if it is equal to null, then again the memory is not created. You no need to check that one. Let's assume that memory is created. Okay, then what you can do is that you have to ask the user to enter the extra elements. So for I is equal to n, okay, I less than m, I plus plus, then you have to ask the user to enter the element. Okay, then I will write scanf %d p plus I. Okay, then close this one. Assume that, see, the m value is greater than n. That's what you want to increase. In this case, the user want to increase the existing memory. Then once you have entered all the elements, you want to display the elements to the user. So you have to start from, for I is equal to 0, I less than m, I plus plus, you have to write print of percentage d p plus I. You have to use the dereference operator to get the value. Once all these elements are displayed, you have to release the memory using a function called free, and you have to give the pointer name. Once it is done, I need to write in the new line, or I can write in the same line also, p is equal to null, okay, and then get ch, and I am closing the main function. So this is the C program to understand the Realloc function. Let me discuss the flow of it. You know that the user has declared three variables which are integer I, n, m. Okay. As we did not initialize any values, by default they will have the garbage values because they are the local variables. And the user has asked to enter the n value. Let's assume that user has entered n value is 2. Okay. Then in star p, so you have declared a pointer p. Okay, int star malloc n into size of int. Let's assume that you are running this program on a 32-bit compiler. Then you know that one integer will occupy 4 bytes of memory. Like that, you are asking the user to create 2 into 4, 8 bytes of memory will be allocated. Okay, then the base address, let's assume that the base address is 100 and this one is 104. So p will have the base address which is 100. Okay, if the memory is not successfully created, then this function will return the null value. That's what we are checking. If the memory is not created successfully, then you are returning the memory is not allocated, means you are displaying, and exit from the program. Let's assume that the memory is allocated and the base address is 100. Is it clear? Now you need to check for I is equal to 0. This is initialization, this is condition checking, this is increment. So I value is 0. Okay, I less than n, yes, 0 less than 2, the condition is true. Once the condition is true, what are the statements which are there in the for loop you have to execute? The two statements are there, enter the element. Let's assume that the user has entered the element as 1. Then scan of percentage d p plus I. What is p is consists of? P is consists of 100. What is the I value? 0. Now as it is an address, you need to multiply this 0 with size of the variable. As the variable is int and you are running it on a 32-bit compiler, integer will occupy 4 bytes. So that's why you need to multiply 0 into 4 and add it to 100. So you will get 100. So in the address location of 100, you want to store the element 1. Then I value will be incremented. Now it will become 1. Again you will check the condition. 1 is less than 2. Yes, it is true. Again you will ask the user to enter the element. Let's take that the user has entered 11 now. Then it has to store in a particular address. What is the address they are telling? P plus I. What is P is having? 100. What is I is having? 1. So it will be 1 into 4 will be 4 plus 100, 104. In 104 address location, the value 11 need to be stored. Then I value will be incremented. Okay. Now look at here. 2 is less than 2. No, the condition is true. Sorry, the condition is false because 2 is equal to 2, but they are saying 2 is less than 2. So the condition is false. It will come out from the for loop and execute the next statement. What is the next statement? Enter the m value. Let's assume that the user has entered the m value as 3. He has created a 4 bytes of memory, 8 bytes of memory to store the 2 integers. Now he want to allocate 12 bytes of memory to store 3 integers. Already you have created 8 bytes of memory. If the memory is successful, another 4 bytes of memory will be allocated. That is what the use of the realloc function. Okay, and it will be base address will be still pointing by the p. Now for I is equal to n, I value is 2 only because n value 2, I value is equal to 2. Less than I less than m. Okay, 2 is less than 3. Yes, condition is true. If the condition is true, you have to execute these statements. Enter the element. Suppose let's take that user has entered the element as 12. Then scan of percentage d p plus I. What is the p value? 100. What is the I value? 2. So 100 plus 2, you need to multiply with the size. So this will give 8 plus 100 will be 108. In 108 memory location, you need to store the value 12. I hope you are able to understand. I think it is visible for you. If it is not visible, let me write here. Okay. In 108 memory location, the value 12 is stored. Okay. Is it clear? Now look at here. I plus plus. Once these statements are done, it will go to the update section I plus plus. Now I value will become 3. Now check the condition. 3 is less than 3. No, 3 is equal to 3. Now again this condition is failed. If the condition is failed, you will come here. Okay. Now whatever the next statement is for loop. Again initialization. I is equal to 0. So now I value will become 0. I less than m, I plus plus. So you are checking the condition I less than m and you are doing the update which is post increment I plus plus. Now what will happen? It will check the condition 0 less than 3. Yes, it is condition is 3 true. So you need to execute this statement. Print of percentage d star p plus I. Okay. Star is what? Dereference operator. So dereference operator, it will go to the particular address and get the value. So as it is having p plus I. Now p is 100. I value is 0. So it will multiply with 4. So it will give 100. It will go to that address location because it is a dereference operator. So it will go to the address location and what value is there? 1 is there. 1 will be displayed as an output. And you need to write \n to print the next one in the underline. Okay. Is it clear? Now I value will be incremented. It will become 1. Again this condition is true. 1 is less than 3. Then again it will print. Now p plus I. P plus I means now value is 1 here, which will become 104. You will go to the 104 location. What value is there? 11. That will be displayed as an output. Then I value will be incremented. Now I value becomes 2. Again the condition is true. 2 is less than 3. Okay. Then you need to print p plus I, which is 2 into 4 because I value is 2. So it will give the 108. It will go to the memory location 108. What value is there? Which is 12. That 12 value will be displayed as an output. Then I plus plus I value will become 3. Now 3 is less than 3. No, because they have written a statement I less than m. I value is 3. M value is 3. So 3 is equal to 3. So the condition is failed. Once the condition is failed, it will come out from the for loop. What is the next statement is there? Free p. It is your duty, whatever the memory is allocated dynamically, it is your duty to release the memory using a function called free. Once you released, it is your duty to assign null value to the pointer to avoid the dangling pointer problem, and you are writing the get ch and close it. So this is the C program to make you understand the Realloc function. I hope you have understood these concepts. If you still have any doubts related to this program, feel free to ask me in the comment section. I will try to clear your doubts as early as possible. Thank you for watching the complete video. Have a nice day.